I don't know. Obviously, with the derby element, it is a one-off game. Never happened before. Like this might never happen again. I mean, is it just is that not really seeping into the players? It is just another game.
Well,
another.
Yeah. Well, the players aren't stupid. Like, if I repeat myself, it's acknowledging that it is a big game at Wembley against local rivals, but it is just another game as well. So that's why we're doing the thing on the Friday. That's why all the press is a bit earlier than what it normally is, because it's the first part of this week has been totally distracted from what's actually important of the match, whether it's logistics, whether it's tickets, whether it's hotels, who wants to stay there, who wants to do this. So that's why the next 3 days I'm really looking forward to, because I can sort of get into the players now in terms of, right, let's get into the prep. Where can we hurt them? Obviously, we've got a couple of games that we've played against them, which we can reference. The playoff games we can reference, because the good thing about Bolton is they play the same formation as Sheffield Wednesday. So there are things that help us along the way. But as a player, there aren't better games than this. So I can only speak from experience. Luckily, I've been in 3 of these sort of one-off occasions and managed to win them all. So I've not been on the other side. So I can't talk about that. People say you don't want to lose at Wembley. No one wants to lose at Wembley. It's 10 months hard work. But go and give yourselves an opportunity. The players are just desperate to get down there now. They just want to go and play it. But that's build. Every day goes by, it builds and it builds. That's why when it actually comes to 5-2 on Monday, it's keeping them calm enough and in that place that they're just in we call it in the zone. You don't need to go up, you don't need to go down. Just do what you do all season, and hopefully that'll be enough.
Against Sheffield Wednesday in the away game, and at the start of the home match as well, you had a lot of success with pressing them. They were trying to play out from the back. It seemed to really rattle, and then they went quite a bit more direct and got a lot of free kicks and then putting crosses in. Is that second part what you more expect from them at Wembley? Because it seemed to an extent work here.
Well, that's what I said. They can hurt you in different ways. So they tried to play one way and then flipped it. So they went against again. They had an hour against us where they really turned us around and they put the balls in the box. Why wouldn't you? With people like they've got Smith up front and even Gregory's got a handful in the air, and they've got good delivery. And then from set plays, like I said, I think they're the biggest team in the league. But we'll be prepared for all aspects. So in terms of preparation, we'll be setting, if they do try and play out, we'll be setting presses. If they go back to front, we'll look at adjusting certain things and counteracting that as well. So I'm sure Murray will be doing exactly the same, because we don't just play with a high press, because we do have the ball sometimes. So and I think we can use it. So that's the beauty of the next 2 or 3 days training, that we can just use a few touch points from the games of when we've hurt them, when we haven't.
You mentioned VAR earlier. Obviously, it's sort of been parachuted in for this game after not at all this season. What are your thoughts on that? And are you welcome it?
Oh yeah, we welcome it, because in the 2 playoff games, you're hoping that they shouldn't. Now we've actually got a meeting with the PGMOL this afternoon. They're coming in to speak to the players just to give them a bit more of an understanding of how it works, because we're the same as everyone else. We watched Howard Webb on Monday Night Football last week. That's probably the only insight that we've actually got into it. So, that should eradicate any sort of human error, and hopefully it means, I think that's the whole reason it's been brought in, that the best team wins.
I guess for Barnsley as a football club, I don't think they've had maybe one FA Cup then with our fans as well. It'll be a new experience for them, just to get maybe a few delays while they're waiting to start something for the game if it happens.
Yeah, I'd imagine it'll be used at some point for something. But yeah, it's a new experience for everybody, because I don't think, I've never been involved in it. Most of the players won't have been involved in it. Obviously, I've watched games with it. So that's why today's good, that it's just a little bit of education so we understand what's going on.
When you first came in, obviously you said it was a chaotic summer. Did this seem a long way away? And was there a time when you thought, I made the right decision coming
in? No, because I back myself no matter what. So I didn't win a game for 10 games at Cheltenham. I didn't doubt myself at that point. I learned a lot, but I didn't doubt myself. So just, a bit older, a bit wiser, a bit greyer, a lot fatter than back then. But I think it's I'm a firm believer. That's why I talk about. I don't. So when I do my first interview with you, I never said. People say, "Where do you think you're going to finish? Where are you going to do that?" I never said anything, and it wasn't me being evasive. It was like, "Well, we'll see." But I know that I work hard. I believe in what I do, and then obviously now we're in a shootout to get promoted. But I don't. I think talk's cheap. You can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about philosophies and all this sort of nonsense. In my opinion, it's like, can you get a group to work hard and stick together and find a way of playing? And that's what we've done as the season's gone on, and we've proved to be good at it.
You mentioned about the play right at the start of the season. You said the players were sort of had set a target with it. Obviously, in house, you didn't say what it was. I mean, was it always this?
Well, this is the thing. It's you get them to set it, but how much they believe it or not, I don't know, because sometimes they pay lip service. So I didn't know the players at that point. Now most of them did say, but a lot of they get led by people like yourselves. So when you have the press day in the indoor centre, I watch all that, and I've had this conversation with them. I'm like, I don't know. Well, we've just been relegated. What the target is it the playoffs? So the players almost feel like they have to go. Oh yeah, we've got to go for the playoffs. But I don't know how much they believed it. But once you start working day to day and you start working with them, and you go, well, break it down. That's why we say half at a time. So I remember the first 10 games, we set a target of come and get 16 points. Because generally, not this year, I don't think it would have done, but 1.6 points a game gets you in the playoffs. So that was the first target of the group, to try and break it down, rather than looking right. Let's get in the playoffs. And it's too far down the line. What are you going to do day to day? And there's those sort of day-to-day habits, week-to-week habits. Talk about it all the time. The 3 o'clock on a Saturday is your window into your working week. And if you do it often enough, properly, results look after themselves. And I think we get to this point now, and they can look back and go, oh yeah, we didn't need to say that, but now we do believe. So yeah, it's can you have that belief one more time?
That's it for me. I think you've been to Wembley twice. The old one, I think, was at Cheltenham in the event trophy in '98, and then obviously when you got to the Premier League with Burnley against Sheffield United. Just briefly, your memories of those two.
Well, the first one, I was only 20 years old, so I didn't really take it in. So I'm probably one of the lucky ones that I managed to win at the old Wembley, the new Wembley. The next one, I'm obviously 31 years old, so it's slightly different. But you just remember, I remember it was full. Obviously, we played Sheffield United that day, ironically. So it was, hopefully from a personal point of view, we could do a double over the two Sheffield teams. But I just remember, I don't remember much about the match. It wasn't a great game, I don't think. But it's the build-up, it's the walking out, and it is special. Now, at the time, they had the big fire things coming out. I think they've stopped doing it now, because I think they were a bit too close, because it was a baking hot day. And I've got big eyebrows, but I don't think I have many eyebrows at the end of it, because it was so hot. So, yeah, lots of weird things that you remember rather than the actual game. I got drugs tested after the game, so I missed a lot of the celebrations afterwards, which was slightly annoying. But the party afterwards was worth it. So go and enjoy it and express yourselves, which is the hard bit. Cheers, Phil.
If you go back, it's one of those 20 minutes time, everybody's Barnsley players will go. We'll remember this year and the union dinners, all that sort of thing. It's be a special thing that in the line is not anything.
Yeah, but that's the funny thing with football is it's, they're saying the ships in the night. They're not really mates. They're sort of they're teammates, but they're not mates. But the ones you do keep in contact with are the ones that you're successful with. So it wouldn't surprise me in 20 years if 4 or 5 of these, if we can get promoted, end up staying mates. It's, I could probably class in 20 odd years. I've got five proper mates that you meet up with and you talk to regularly. You go to your reunion dinners and you just click back into 20 years ago, and so it's the same banter and everything. Everyone just looks older. But yeah, I think there's been a bond. They've realised they've had to come through a lot this year, this group. Yeah. And that's not me trying to create a siege mentality. They did get written off a lot. At the start of the season, it was like, well, there's almost what's the point, because they've sold all the best players. The board of this, the board of that, but the last few home games, the Derby, the Sheffield Wednesday home games, that's been the really pleasing thing for me. We talk about connections and things. I think the supporters are back on board now, and I've had it quite a few times said to me, thanks for giving us our club back. Now that's not me. There's a lot of work going in, but that means a lot because the club means so much to people in the town. So yeah, it's been we're really looking forward, and hopefully we can finish it off and make it a really, really special season.
You must be proud of the journey. Remember when you first came in, the players were wanting to go, or at some point you found the journey, and it's incredible what's happened since.
Yeah, it's the start was difficult because it is hard when that every meeting you're having with a player, it's them knocking the door saying I want to leave. But it's not quite that simple. It happens at every team that's been relegated. I've been relegated out of leagues and had players go, right, see you later, lads. It's been brilliant. It's like, well, hold on a second, you can't be that good. We got relegated. But that's the weirdness of football. That's when agents get involved, and that's the business side of it. They're looking after themselves, which I totally get. But once the window closed, you see the group solidify at that point because it's like pointless whether you want to be here or whether you don't. If you're not successful this season, you ain't going anywhere next year anyway.
Yeah.
So it's getting them to understand that, and that's the bit they listened to and took it on. We've said Mads is probably a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
And then finding a way of playing which took a little bit of time, tweaking what I want, what they want, what the club have done. So yeah, it's been lots of hard work, a little bit of luck along the way. But yeah, I think it's been an enjoyable season. Been a hard season. Again, I've learned loads this season, but these are the seasons that you do learn from.